I genuinely thought that my soulmate and I had discovered an unbreakable bond when we chose to get married. Our relationship was built on trust, and I couldn't imagine a situation in which it might fail. But as life frequently does, it threw me a curveball that I never could have predicted, and I feel compelled to share this story now. They say you can spend years with someone and still not fully understand the depth of their soul. And looking back, I realize how painfully true that is. I learned this the hard way, like a knife to the back, and even now, when I think back on those days, I feel a mixture of disbelief and sorrow. I had known my partner for what seemed like forever. We grew up in the same neighborhood and went to the same schools. Everything started on New Year's Eve when my wife said she couldn't miss the party at her office since Rita had just been promoted and wanted to thank her team. At first, I wasn't bothered. Meanwhile, my company was hosting its own celebration, the same night these events were typically a +1 affair, and for years we always attended together, but this time I was going solo. My colleagues couldn't resist, teasing me, letting your wife out of sight on New Year's Eve. What if someone swoops in and steals her? I laughed it off, joking that they hadn't been able to steal me yet. Jealousy was never really my thing. I trusted Rita completely, but their teasing planted a seed of unease in me, a small doubt that grew into something more. By the time I started to worry, it was already too late to change anything. If I had known what was coming, I would have gone to her office party, but I let my guard down, allowing myself to enjoy the evening at my own event. I didn't drink much, but when I started feeling off, I stepped outside for some fresh air. The cool breeze steadied me, and as I was about to go back inside, my phone buzzed. It was a message from an unknown number, several emails to be exact. A strange sense of foreboding washed over me, but I reasoned that if something had happened to Rita, I'd have received a call, not a cryptic message, so I dismissed it for the moment. The party reached its peak, and then people were ushered outside for fireworks. I stepped out into the cold night, and my phone buzzed again. I was about to reject it as spam from the same unknown sender, but I was halted by something. My breath caught in my mouth as I read the first message again, trying to make sense of the words. But the meaning was clear. I opened the second message, and it was even worse. A voice in my head encouraged me to open it, but I hadn't. Rita was accused of something unspeakable in the text, and to make matters worse, the sender appeared so familiar that I was unable to identify them. The implications of the messages sank in doubt and suspicion, and Rita's failure to return my calls and attend the party only increased my anxiety as fireworks burst overhead while my thoughts were elsewhere. I hurried to the bus stop and, by chance, called a cab. The streets were quiet, and soon I was at Rita's office, steeling myself. I went inside and ran into one of her co-workers, who grabbed my arm and pointed to her boss's office, saying, "I saw your wife going there," as if to brace for the worst. I pushed the door open and saw Rita and her boss together in a way that made it clear that the trail was real. In a fit of rage, I kicked the door open, lunged at her boss, and punched him in the face, but something stopped me from hurting Rita more. Later, I discovered that the text had come from a friend of hers, the same person who had led me to the office. I never bothered to look into her motivations. Perhaps she believed she was assisting me, or perhaps something else was driving her. But whatever the case, the damage was done. And even now I can't get rid of my feelings for Rita. I keep asking myself if I should be thankful to the person who destroyed my world, or if I would have been better off not knowing the truth, because as they say, ignorance is bliss. However, there is no turning back, because while I couldn't live with a lie, I also know that the truth destroyed reality. I believed I had, but it seems like I'll never get a satisfactory response.